What's up? How you doing? And welcome back to another episode of the Foreigner Podcast. The podcast where we talk about every topic related to being an exchange student or just living abroad in a different culture in general. So if you aren't in any way interested in those kinds of topics, please be sure to subscribe to my podcast in order to never miss an episode again. Also, subscribe to my newsletter, The Foreigner Podcast Monthly, and in return, get a free copy of my ebook called 5 Worst Exchange Student Itches Scratched. Today, in another installment of The Foreigner Podcast, I want to touch on 2 topics again that are quite different. I haven't talked about some host family aspects in quite a while, but after now being a host brother for almost half a year, I feel confident enough and I feel like I can talk about that a little bit. Also, I want to talk a little bit about my opinion on romantic relationships for exchange students. With that, I think this episode will be quite interesting, or just entertaining for you. If so, then show it to me with a good review, and if you have any additional questions, then send them at theforeignerpodcast@gmail.com. That is my email address, so send them there if you have any questions. I will send you an email and answer your question, or if the question is big enough, I'll make an own episode about it and upload it quite in time. So, any questions? Hit me up, theforeignerpodcast@gmail.com. And so, as I already said, I want to get into the main part of the episode with talking about being a host family. And then, of course, I'll talk about romances abroad as well. And then, of course, there will be an item of the episode and a quote of the episode. But let's start with being a host family. So, my parents, they had a girl from Thailand when I was on my exchange, when I was abroad. So, they are more trained and have more experience than I have. But I know aspects that they don't know since I was an exchange student, so I know better how our exchange student could feel. So I think together we make a pretty good team on being a host family. And as I said, I'm a host brother for half a year now. Our girl from Russia is here for almost half a year now, which is pretty cool. It's really exciting. And first I want to talk about the general vibe that I get from my parents and how they approach being host parents, because I mean it's different than being a real parent. At least they behave differently than they would behave with us, because even though my parents are not helicopter parents, but they are more behind us succeeding in school and everything than they are for our exchange students. So that's definitely a thing. They're more strict for their real children, me and my sisters, than for my host sister. But I mean, I can understand that. So, and it's not that big of an issue. Like, she doesn't need it. She behaves really good. She doesn't need the strictness. If we had exchange students that would make trouble, I think that they could be strict as well. But that's a general vibe I get from them. They're pretty easygoing sometimes, and also thoughtful. Like they really care, which I think makes them and us a good host family, because we really care and we are thoughtful. And we aren't just doing it because we have done it 4 or 5 times now and we're doing it because it's tradition, but we don't want to do it. No, we really mean it and we really want the exchange student to feel good. So, that's the main vibe I get. And my parents and me, we know that the situation is difficult for our exchange student, so we try to support her as good as we can and wherever we can. And that's a thing that, if you're a host family, should be in your mind as well. Because if you help your exchange student, it won't get bad. Like, if you help and if you are actively supporting, the chances of your experience being better is much greater than it would be if you were just coexisting but not caring about the student you're hosting. Other, of course, than the moral value of just being a host family and accepting someone in your home, which should already make you care. But I just wanted to say it because my future points will touch a little bit on that as well. So the whole exchange thing and the whole host family thing is a relationship of trust. Because if we distrust our exchange student, why should they distrust us? Why should they trust us? They won't trust us. We all need to trust each other. And yes, I'm saying the word trust a lot because it's so important. If you don't trust each other, it's not going to work out. And I mean, you don't need to blindly trust in everything, but if you don't get a reason to distrust, then don't don't distrust because they're from a country and there are stereotypes about this country that they are not trustable or whatever. I mean, there are prejudices in Germany that say all Polish people steal, so I can imagine people being less trusting of a Polish person because they might steal their car or whatever. So yeah, that's not leading you towards a good experience if you don't trust your exchange student and if they don't trust you. It works in both ways. If they don't trust you, if they act like they always, and I mean always, get a second opinion of some person not even related to your family, then that might be a reason to be concerned as well. But yeah, I mean that's probably it about to the trust. And now how to achieve the trust. Um, that is just by clear communication. I mean, communication is key because beating around the bush doesn't work. Like with our exchange student, we explain her everything twice or three times if necessary. The important thing is that she understands it and that she understands our decisions and that she knows why we are doing things the way we're doing them. If your exchange student feels, just done wrong, if they feel like they're treated unfairly, they won't they won't be in for a good experience as well because it will be hard for them to trust you. And I know I keep repeating the word trust. I'm sorry, but yeah, I hope you get what I want to say. Like you need to communicate your thoughts and your feelings so that they understand. And even if that is not so easy in your culture, like I know a lot of Americans and especially Minnesotans talk through the flower, they beat around the bush, and they don't always say what they mean. With an exchange student, it's sometimes important that you actually say what you mean, even though it may feel rude to you. They'll appreciate it if you do it in a nice, polite, and tolerant way and understanding. Then they will as well understand that you just had to tell them what you just told them. And that can be related to anything. That can be if they did something wrong, but that can also be just in general to explain them what's happening at the moment, what's happening right now, why things are a certain way. Yeah. And a part of that is that you need to give your exchange student the feeling that they are appreciated. And that comes with the communication as well. Because if they feel like they're air to you, they mean nothing to you, they'll be sad. And that's not gonna be a good way to a great relationship and a great experience. So, yeah, I mean, you don't have to just throw thanks and presents at them all the time, but just let them know that they are appreciated. If they do some extra work, like if they bring out the garbage without you asking them, say thank you. And sometimes, what's the word called? Um, yeah, I think it's appreciation. Mm, to appreciate someone? No, I don't know. I don't know the word. I forgot it. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Um, if they do something good, congratulate them on that. Like, and if they are behaving well and being a good exchange student, tell them like, oh, you're a really good exchange student. You're doing your job really good. That's what I would advise you to do out of my position. But okay, let's get back to the serious part. This whole thing is not a vacation for everyone. Like, both parties have to put in work and do all of their things with determination in order to have a great time. So, don't be scared or anything. It's not going to be like your work that you go to every day, but it's not going to be easy as well. it doesn't just it doesn't just turn out to be great without anyone doing anything for it. You both have to put in work, you both have to work on understanding each other, on understanding your differences, because you much likely are from a different culture. This is what this whole thing is about. And of course, there's going to be friction and there's going to be problems. And it's on you to work out with them and to be okay with it. So, I mean, you knew what you were getting yourself into, and the work is definitely worth it. But it is work, and it takes you quite some time and maybe even some tears or whatever to just get a whole grasp of the issue that you might be having or of the whole situation, because sometimes it can be um, very very it can be um, a very hidden conflict, or that your exchange student isn't telling you what the actual problem is, and then you'll kind of have to sense it out. But I mean, it's not different with your own children, is it? If you're a mother or a father. So, I mean, yeah, it's another child from another culture that has been raised by different people, but they are actually determined to be with you, or most of the time they should be, to be with you and to learn about your culture. So that should be a great starting point. And yeah, don't expect them to be perfect. As I said, they're raised by different people in a different culture. They won't fit in perfectly. Of course, they will make mistakes and might be uncomfortable for you, but that's okay. I mean, it's kind of the price for having such a great opportunity of learning something about different cultures and teaching them your culture. So, in that way, I mean, yes, there is going to be issues, but it's worth it. It's really worth it. And don't get scared when I say that, because once you have been, oh my god, I gotta put my cat out. I will be back in a second. Okay, here I am back. My cat is now out of my room, so there should be no more disruptions by my cat. So, where was I? Yeah, I was talking about the struggles that you can have and that you shouldn't be scared, because once you become an exchange family or a host family, you will understand what just great feelings and what a great honor it is, what great feelings it brings, and what kind of a great honor it is to be a host parent or a host brother or a host sister. So it might seem like there's a lot of friction potential and a lot of conflict potential, which is the case. But if you work and just engage with it with determination, it's gonna be great. So I don't want to discourage you. I just wanted to remind you that it's not just a vacation or a holiday, but the memories you make, they are so amazing. Like, I can still remember the first time meeting the exchange students my parents had, because I came home 2 weeks before she left, and just that bright smile and her nice voice. She was from Thailand, so she had a really nice voice. She was like, "Hi, Andre." Oh my god, that was so cute. That was really cool. And like all of these memories, or I often walk to the school bus with my host sister now, and we just talk about exchange student problems, and it's really cool how her German evolves. Like, at the beginning she barely talked any German, and now she's already doing pretty good. Like, for half a year she's really good in German, and it's so fun to see her accent evolve and just her language skills to evolve. That's such a great process to be a part of, which I'm really grateful for, that I can be a part of that, and you as a family can be as well. It's just amazing. Believe me, it's amazing. And yeah, if it should not be amazing, if it really doesn't work out with you, your host student is, I don't know, stealing or not following your rules at all, and they're just behaving like they don't appreciate you at all, they're not fitting into the culture, to the family life, then keep in mind it is okay if it doesn't work out. If necessary, it is okay to send your exchange student home, or to have to move to another family. You shouldn't take it personally. It's not your fault. It's it's likely their fault. Also, it's just nobody's fault because it just doesn't work out. So don't be bummed out about that if that case should happen. It happens, and the next exchange student is gonna be better, I'm sure. And on that note, I want to end the host family part of today's episode. So if you have any further questions about what being an exchange student in a family, or what being a family with an exchange student is like, then send me an email at theforeignerpodcast@gmail.com. And now let's spill some tea right here. Now I'll talk about one of the most difficult topics. Yeah, I was pretty scared till now to talk about this topic because love and relationships are a very private thing. But since most exchange students are teenagers, it is very relevant. And I don't want to offend anyone if you don't agree with my words that I'll be putting out there right now. So I'm just giving my opinion as a veteran exchange student about what I think is good advice for other exchange students on how to approach all that matter of love and relationships, and yeah, being a part of a relationship in your host country, being a part of a relationship in a foreign culture. So, yeah, let me just dive right into that. And at first, I want to add a disclaimer. I did not engage in any romantic relationship, and that is because of my moral values. And to explain that real quick, I had the moral value that in a relationship, you like need to actually communicate a lot and be honest. And I wouldn't feel comfortable being in a relationship where it was clear for the both of us that I was leaving and that I would likely never see them again. And I would not want to be in a relationship with someone and having them and me knowing that I was gonna leave. And of course, I couldn't lie to a potential girlfriend and tell her, no, I'll never leave. I just moved here. And then after a year, I'd be gone. That is not in any way a thing that I wanted to do. And yeah, I just didn't want to be in a relationship where we both knew that I was going to leave. I wouldn't want to live with that kind of pain all the time. But that was a personal decision, and so is your decision. And it's all personal to you what you do and how you do it. And I'm just stating my own opinion and I can't say stories because there were no stories, but yeah, my moral opinion of all that topic. But there are some rules that you should follow. Like, there are 3 rules that I really want to tell you, and those can be seen as don'ts. Don't break those rules. Please don't. It's gonna get you in real trouble. And rule number 1 is don't get anyone pregnant. You do not want to be a dad and have a child living on the other side of the globe. And especially if that happens, the country may sue you for the rest of your life and you'll have to pay child support for the rest of your life. You do not want that as a guy. And if you are a girl, you don't want to get pregnant because you don't want to be a single mom in your home country and have the dad be on the other side of the globe, hopefully even paying to you, but it's not that clear if they're going to pay because the laws in Germany are much different, or in any Western country, than they are in, I don't know, Southern American countries. So that's rule number 1. Don't get anyone pregnant. Don't get pregnant. Rule number 2. Don't break it. Respect your organization's and state's laws on exchange student sexual guidelines and your family's laws and guidelines on that. Like, some organizations allow sexual or romantic relationships for exchange students, some don't. If yours doesn't, don't try them. You may fool them for a while, but chances are high that they'll somehow find out. They're not stupid as well. So I know I say that a lot, but you could also get sent home for that. And I don't want to sound like I'm the bad guy always telling you could be sent home, but well, I've heard of cases where that happens, where exchange students were sent home because they had sex and their organization didn't allow it. And there's, of course, states or countries' laws on that. Like in Minnesota, I think it was even prohibited for exchange students to have sex. And if we were caught by our parents, of me and my potential girlfriend that never showed up, and their potential parents caught us and potentially called the cops or whatever, they could, really legally touch me. Like, I could have gotten in real legal trouble. So, if you find out about that, if your state department or if your country allows exchange students to be active. If yes, then only respect the family. I've heard of a lot of host families who said, "Oh, you can have sex, but not under this roof." So I've heard of families saying, "It's okay, but not in my house." And if your family says that, then respect it. You don't want to mess up with your host family. I already talked about that in the first part. Your host family is really important, so do not mess with them. And if they say no, then it means 3 times no. And as I said, 3, let's get to rule number 3. Don't be an asshole. You as an exchange student, you are in a very special position. And you should never use anyone or get used because of your position. Like, it is the case that sometimes exchange students have a higher standing and someone wants to be with the exchange student just in order to have them as their token girlfriend or boyfriend. And that happens for both genders. If you feel like that, you don't need to be in that position. If you feel that you are in any way threatened, then get yourself help. I'll talk about that in a sec. But also, if you're an exchange student, don't play the exchange student card in order to get girls or get boys and just collect them like finger rings or earrings and jewelry, because they're not. They're human beings as well, and they have feelings. So always be sure that everyone is knowing what you're doing. Like, everyone knows that you're in a relationship of the two of you. So don't say you're in a relationship with someone without them even knowing it, or don't neglect them and later tell them, "Oh yeah, we're in a relationship," but when someone asks you, "No, we're not in any way together," that's not a nice thing to do. And you as an exchange student are an ambassador for your country, and you should not shine that much of a bad light onto your country, because doing morally wrong things in a romantic or sexual kind of way is really frowned upon in most cultures. So yeah, those are the 3 numbers. Number 1, don't get anyone pregnant, don't get pregnant. Number 2, respect your organization, states, countries, and exchange students' families, sexual guidelines. And number 3, don't be an asshole. Those are the 3 rules. And now, just some things I want to let you know that I think are very important to touch on. And that would be, of course, if you feel in any way unsafe or endangered because of a potential boyfriend or stalkers or whatever, then contact your organization, contact your school, if necessary, even contact the police. Like, yes, I mean it, because your safety is very important and you should not endanger yourself under no circumstances. That's just what I wanted to tell you. There are people that want to help you, and you should let them help you. But, I mean, if everything is going awesome and fine and everything is legal that you're doing and you're very happy, keep it that way. As a boyfriend or girlfriend, you should know what you can do to keep it that way. So, do that. Keep it that way. Don't get your partner unhappy. Don't do anything legal. Don't let things go bad just because. Be genuine. And of course, I don't want just to tell you what to do all the time. So in the end, I just once more want to call on you to use your brain. Don't be stupid. You are responsible for your actions, and only you. Now, after that note, I'll come to the item of the episode. I found another book on Amazon, which sounded really intriguing to me, and it's called An Innocent Abroad: The Misadventures of an Exchange Teacher in Montana. And now this is about a teacher. That's really important. That's really interesting, I think, because that's a whole other perspective that we have never touched on. So if any one of you actually reads it, because I don't have the money and or time to read it right now, then hey, you could come on for an interview about the book. How does that sound? So yeah, if you bought it, let me know and we can talk about it. But now let's get to the quote of the episode. This one is one from Chuck Palahinuk, I think. And he's the author of Fight Club, the book, not the movie. The book was written first, and then someone made a movie about it. But yeah, and I was looking for family quotes, because I touched on families in this episode. But this one really got to me. I thought it was really funny. It says, "Parents are like God, because you want to know they're out there, and you want them to think well of you. But you really only call when you need something." Which, I mean, also is the truth for exchange students. We, at least most of the time, don't have that much of a close contact to our parents or actual parents at home. But still, we know they're out there. We know that we will meet them back, and we want them to have us in good memory. But we only call if we need help with something. So yeah, parents, if you're listening to that and you feel like that's your exchange student that was just described there, well, lucky you, because you're a god now. Okay, that was the episode of the Foreigner Podcast. I thank you very much for listening. And as I already said in the beginning, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my podcast and leave me a positive review. Share me with your friends who are also interested in going abroad. And yeah, keep your eyes open, hearts open, ears open. Yeah, just be open. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.